Hi, I'm Brad from Ductus, and I'm back with another video on one of our 4 core pillars of impactful automation. In this video, we'll be discussing agility, which is the measure of how quickly your automation can react to changes in the business process that it's automating. Are there changes to the data that's being provided? Are there changes to the stakeholders that we need to be made aware of? Did the process itself change and modify the order in which its stages are executed? These are all things that can lead to a divergence between the business process and the underlying automation and end up having non-deterministic results for your users. They might not see the results they expected because the changes in the business processes weren't communicated southbound to the automation team. This will lead to a lack of engagement with the automation. We've seen this happen time and again, and we'll talk about one particular anecdote later on in this video. And there's many ways we can have agility, right? We can be agile socially, right? We can be communicating effectively with our consumers, making sure we understand when there's changes in users, we understand feedback from them, and we know when they're not satisfied with its behavior, its functions. There can be a lack of agility when it comes to more technical concerns, like maybe the data that we're being provided with is changing. The configuration that they want to present to automation is changing, and we didn't react to it. We weren't prepared for that, and so it fails. We can also just not be agile when it comes to our dependencies in the ecosystem in which we operate. Are there upgrades happening with other platforms we consume from? Are there migrations going on? Is there downtime? Are there maintenance windows happening that will affect our automation? If these aren't being communicated, we can't react accordingly, and we'll see our automation fall into disuse. And really quickly, I want to talk about one of these scenarios in which we were brought in to enhance a customer's automation. And nominally, it was supposed to be a technical engagement. We were going to come in and just make the code work faster and get data out to the devices more rapidly. But it quickly became apparent that the problem did not reside in the technical domain. That was fixed and was going to see diminishing returns if we worked on it. Where the problem was found was in the overlaying organizational workflow. To get golden configuration out to devices, it had to go through 2 committees. It had to get formally proposed, reviewed, and then go through some red lines. Get sent to another committee where more individuals from different business silos came together. They approved it. It was then, in a subsequent meeting, presented to the automation team, where we then took a week to integrate it into automation, push it out, test it, and get validation from the stakeholders. This entire end-to-end process took around 3 months. So by the time we ingested the golden configuration and pushed out the devices, that was obsolete, and users had already proposed new configuration changes that were trapped somewhere in the bureaucratic pipeline. So we laid down the end-to-end process. Who are the stakeholders? Who approves what? What is the baton that gets passed to them? Is it an email? Is it a Slack message? Looked at all the friction between these silos, all the emails that went unread for several days. And all of this cumulatively led to a 2 to 3 month window that prevented the configuration from reaching the hands of the automation team. So we looked at that and realized we were not agile. It wasn't entirely our fault, but we still were not getting the configuration input to the business process out to the devices quickly enough. And as a result of that, people just stopped using the automation we built. So we rearranged that process, automated the communication between teams, restructured the meetings, made them more frequently where we had to, eliminated them where they weren't needed, and made sure when someone proposed a golden config change, through a PR, it got approved as quickly as possible into our team and out to the devices within 2 weeks. So if you're asking yourself, man, I'd like to be that agile, how can I achieve that? That's a great question, and you're watching the right video. The first thing I'd recommend is something that is probably done. This is foundational to everything, but just make sure you have effectively a racy matrix of your stakeholders. Who needs to be informed of changes to your automation? Who do you need to be informed by of changes to things that you're automating? Just make sure you know the stakeholders in your platform, who owns what technologies that you are dependent upon. This is the foundation for establishing a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly cadence of meetings to make sure that these changes within platforms are communicated to everyone who needs to know. So once you get the stakeholders collected and we create the meetings we need, that's where a lot of these things surface, where I am now aware of the fact that we have an upgrade. I look and I see it's no longer compatible with the requests we're making. I can react appropriately before we have an outage. I'd also recommend that we leverage another pillar that we discussed in a previous video, transparency. If you can visualize or make very intuitive the actual actions your automation workflow is taking, it makes it much easier for the process owners to react to it and understand when it has deviated from what they're doing. We've seen many scenarios where people made assumptions about what the automation was doing. They were not the primary stakeholders, but they were consumers. And it was Python. It was just code. It was just Go. And they couldn't really get insight into it. There was a massive README, but no one took the time to really peruse it and understand what's happening. And so they made their own assumptions about what automation was doing. And when it deviated from those expectations, they just stopped using it entirely. So what we've started doing is making sure that it is highly visual what our automation is doing. That way anyone can react to it and say, we don't do that now, we do this instead. They communicate that to us. We make the changes as quickly as possible. And now the entire organization knows that they have a role to play in ensuring that that automation remains in sync with that business process. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope there were some insights that maybe you can apply to your automation practices and ensure that you're linked with the business that you need to automate.